Hello, everyone. It's Mark Ballard. We're doing our Ballard 360 stats brief. Again, it's June 25th, 2020. And I think what we'll do is we'll cover two or three things today. First of all, I wanted to go through the, so far this month, what we've been seeing as far as the numbers are concerned. Secondly, how does this year still fare from this year to last year? And then finally, we'll touch on the stats forecast that came out from Brendon, Ogmundson from the BCREA chief economist. And so I wanted to cover off what he said as well. Okay, so to get right to it, what we're seeing as far as kind of year-to-date sales, which I was kind of looking at a little bit last month, is I did the January 1st to June 25th for both the years this year as opposed to 2019. And what we're finding across the board, except for one municipality, which is North Van, I'll get into that, almost identical amount of sales this year as last year, which there was no COVID. Almost, we're getting to a point where most of the year so far has been COVID. And what we're seeing is almost identical sales volumes as we did last year. Those numbers are bearing out in West Van, they're bearing out in Burnaby, Richmond, they're bearing out in Vancouver East Side and Vancouver West Side. Okay, the only anomaly in there is North Van, and they've had a very good, strong market in the last few months. I think that kind of affordability driven with the drop in interest rates and some relaxation of the stress test. I think things are looking up for North Van. As far as the this last month, as far as sales of single-family homes in West Van, we're running about the same. We had 35 sales this year or this month, and last month we had 30, and the month before that we had 45. So we're still running about a 6 to 7% actives to sales ratio, which you've heard me talk about. And under 12% is a buyer's market, and once you get into single digits, it's quite strongly a buyer's market. And that in West Van, they're barely inching into the balanced market. They're about 13%. And what we're really seeing is this anomaly in North Van. And North Van is being driven by the lower end, the more affordable homes. And what they've got a total of 300 listings, 306 to be exact. And they're running about 70 sales so far. So we'll probably top this month with about 80 sales. So that's getting up there. We're of a 25% active to sale ratio. And that active to sales ratio being that is very much in the sellers, in what we call a seller's market. So I think that's really, really cool. If you get into North Van condos, that has been a lot of fuel in the condo market in North Vancouver. To date, this year to date, we've sold 619 condos in North Van. And that same time period last year, we only sold 586. And yet we've had the COVID thing going on this year. So we've actually, beaten, last year's sales by some 30 odd condos on top of the fact that we've had COVID. So I think that is really a testament to the affordability, the low interest rates, the relaxation of the stress test is fueling the kind of North Van cheaper home market and the North Van condo market. So that I think is a very good thing. The other thing that I will say, the condo sales on the west side, almost identical. We had, in 2019, we had 1,550 condos sale kind of year to date as it was. And year to date sales this year is 1,555. So really 5 more condos have sold so far this year as opposed to the same time period last year. So that is all telling me that the market is quite healthy. And when you look at the sales to active ratios in a lot of the lower mainland municipalities, we're seeing consistent to 2018 and 2019 types of actives to sales ratios. So I don't think there's really any reason that anybody that looking at lifestyle choices right now that thinks, is it time to put my house on the market? I mean, I think for most municipalities, I think that the answer can be, it's quite safe. Right now in West Van, we have about 400 homes, which is a very good, solid amount of inventory. It's not huge inventory. Last year, the year before, we were carrying 600 homes. So if you were in West Van and you felt like you wanted to downsize, or that your lifestyle was changing, either adding kids or thinking of, you know, if the kids are growing up and growing out, then this is certainly not a bad time to be listing when we only have 401 actives. Similarly, in North Van, they can't keep them on the shelves. We're about 300 listings, and they're selling about 70, 80 of those listings a month. So they're selling a quarter of all their inventory every single month. So if you're in North Van, good time to list. You know, there's lots of energy in the North Vancouver market. The West Side, similarly, they're kind of getting into the low end of the balanced market. They've got 488 homes for sale. So I would say that that is a particularly good time to be listing as well. I think I'm very stoked by what I'm seeing. I'm very, I'm quite, bullish on the market as well, and transitioning into kind of what Brendon Ogmundson said, who's the chief economist of the BCREA. They've gone through and done an analysis of this kind of recession, this real estate recession, COVID driven, and against the last three major downturns in the market, one being the 2008, going back to the 81 and the 1990. And all the markets behaved the same coming out of it, and that was a very quick recovery. And BCREA is forecasting a very quick recovery. That is somewhat juxtaposed whether or not we have a second wave or not, and just how we're doing. But BC has been very strong with COVID. Everybody is, very behaving well, being responsible, and that is being very well received on the disease front by low numbers and a low curve. And I think that means that our ability to handle a second wave is enhanced. And I also think that we should, keep our fingers crossed, but everybody behaves themselves. We might not get a second wave. So as we go through this thing, that all supports what I've been saying for a while, and that is that I think we could have a very strong fall market. The first two quarters look like they're exactly the same as last year, and rock solid numbers. And I see that the fall, if we have a little bit more COVID and that pushes us out, then that would translate into a strong spring market. But I think we should end this year strong. Thank you very much for watching. Have a good one. Stay safe.